I guess I could start off with saying that you have definitely dabbled in many different art forms. Do you ever value any one over the other as to what defines you?
No. In that it's all work that I take very seriously. Although I don't take myself seriously. I take the work seriously. And I'm not trying to say that it's all just a generic load of work. As I said, I try to make everything good. So if I do the radio show, I try and make it a great radio show. If I'm on stage on my own, I'm trying to make that a good experience. But I just don't understand a life without a kind of a multitasking. Okay, and kind of doing a lot of different things for so long. You kind of vigorous. It keeps you kind of hopping from one thing to the next. And that's just what I know. So I kind of value work, and the work defines me, not any specific one thing.
I think you've only gone through a semester of college?
Yeah, I went through a semester of college in 1979 or 80. And it just wasn't for me. I mean, I like the idea of higher education. That's not a problem at all. As I said, I just didn't like it. I think this high school was such a bad experience for me. I went back into like the school situation. I was like, nah, I'm not going to be able to hack 4 years of this. It was very apparent to me that it was not what I wanted. So I got out.
Back in the days with Black Flag, before you joined them, you were quite a fan, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. When you actually began playing with them, you start touring with them. How did that affect you performance-wise, knowing that your performance came from a great love for that music?
Well, by the time you're on stage and actually doing everything, you're not doing anything but the songs. There's no time to think about anything. I mean, there was this kind of momentary euphoria of like, damn, I've left home. I'm the singer in this band. It's like winning the lottery. I didn't have to start doing it. I didn't have to invent the band. I walked in to an already established thing and got to kind of cruise on the largesse of a band that had already worked very, very hard to establish themselves. And so there is, I didn't have to take the beating that those guys took to get the car on the road. I just had to get in when it was at ramming speed. And that soon went away once you're practicing 6 hours a day and you're living on the floor. And then you just get into the grind of what it really takes to be in a band. In those days, I was playing music that was not popular in a mainstream way. And by the time you're on stage playing, there's no time for anything but keeping your breathing straight, getting the lyrics together, and not passing out from exhaustion. It was just keeping up was kind of all you really had time for. And that was good. I mean, that's what it should be. It should be, just with your head in the game, not thinking anything else. And so I do remember that very, very acutely, that all of that was over very quickly, and the hugeness of the work of it took over very, very quickly.
Yeah, you mentioned not taking the beatings of starting the band or anything, but my friend Jake liked to send me videos that when I told him I'd be interviewing you of videos of you intimidating other interviewers and actually beating up a fan in the crowd back in your days. And he actually asked me to ask you a question about that certain interview back in '84, where you basically just intimidated the crap out of this kid with the rat tail. And I was wondering, do you hold any kind of regret towards that, or do you still stand by how you acted towards him? How did you feel during that interview?
Let's see, I'm talking to some guy after a show who's asking stupid questions, and so he gave me some attitude, and I gave him some attitude. Did the guy get his neck broken?
No.
No, he got talked to, right?
Mm-hmm, yes.
You think he walked away from that with all his digits intact? Yes. Was he able to live another day? Yes. So, who cares? Your friend might want to puncture his cat or air holes and get out every once in a while. There's reactive violence in that if these people had left me alone, nothing would have happened because I just wanted to do the smoke and leave. But when, you spit on me enough times, I'm going to react. If you swing at me, I'm going to react. If you put a cigarette into my leg while it's still wet, I'm going to react.
I guess the reason I am asking the questions from so long ago is where you are now. You're such a huge activist, and especially for the gay rights.
But that is not an opposition to anything I ever did with some interviewer or some guy at a show. I mean, if I'm hitting some guy at a Black Flag show, that doesn't mean I'm also homophobic. It's just like, people stop hitting me, and so I stop hitting them. As far as, standing up for gay people, Black Flag had a lot of really intense, fringe people who hung out with us. So backstage with us, drag queens, gay people, they were people that we were friends with just because they were shut out of society as much as we were. And so that world was always very, very close to me. And we had a lot of gay people in our DC music scene, where I come from. And I had gay bosses. I went to an all-boys school. By 10th grade, you look around and you're like, damn, my school was crawling with gay people. It just, it happens. And so all of that, I was always on the side of gay people not getting messed with.
I find it amazing how you can be such an activist, not just for the gay rights, but with politics. You've gotten really huge in politics, going out with those USO tours. You started that blog in 2008. Just recently, the British photographer Paul Conroy came back from Syria, and he described Syria as not a war but a massacre. And as a political activist as well, I was wondering if you could shed any light on that.
Well, change is happening in Syria. Change happened in Yemen, and Tunisia, and Egypt, and it's happening in America. And in Syria, you get shot. In America, you get pepper sprayed. So it's a lighter punishment for standing up for something, but it's punishment all the same. And so in Syria, people are rebelling. They're pushing back against their government. Bashar al-Assad definitely wants to stay in power. He's going to lose eventually. If the people don't take him down, I'm sure a CIA operation will. Because Barack Hussein Obama, our president, has basically indicated that he's dissatisfied with how Syria's government is conducting itself, which should be all the code and knowledge to understand that he needs to go, because that just basically means the hounds of the CIA have been activated, and I have no doubt they're there now, getting ready to do something. That's kind of how we operate. And so he eventually will either step down or he will get assassinated. And so I think what you're seeing in these countries is push against that authoritarian dictatorship and the austerity that is putting on these people.
With your knowledge and what's happening, politically speaking, do you feel like that's taking you away from your other works? We talked about how you like to multitask. Do you feel like the political movements and everything would be taking you away from, say, your spoken word tours or ever producing another, acoustic album or anything like that? Do you feel like it's taking you away?
No, I mean, it's just part of your life. You read the newspapers, you watch the news, you weigh in. I think to be politically aware of the things, it doesn't obsess me. But as an American who's trying to be responsible, I want to be part of where my country's going. I want it to go in a good direction. Like you, like anyone else, even like all the people I disagree with, we probably think that we're doing the right thing. Fair enough. And that's what keeps democracy sharp, is opposition. It sharpens the blade. Debate is a very good thing. Everyone wins in a debate, in that even if you lose the debate, you still refine your point. And you basically find all the cracks in the armor of your point. You can amend that. And so it doesn't take up so much of my day. I don't get anything else done. I just think at a certain age,
people think that voting shouldn't just be a right, but it should be taught, like how to correctly go about voting. How would you feel about something like that, something like voting being regulated?
I think, well, I'm not hearing that what you're saying is implying any regulation. Voting is a right. It's in the Constitution. But should someone be able to take a class to learn how to vote? Absolutely. That'd be great. If they can be further informed on what their vote means and how to prepare for it. And, a lot of times when you vote for the presidential election, there's all these local votes to take, like on Prop this, Proposition that, and a lot of people don't know that part of the voting system. They don't know that this big book they give you every year, and here's what's happening in your own state, like famously in California, Proposition 8. What's that? Well, it's very damn important for some people, and it's going on in your state. And so you might want to take the time, read the book, get an opinion on all those, less famous votes, and be able to weigh in with some authority.
Henry, I think we're actually running out of time. But before I go,
if you have any other dangling questions, I can try and answer them for you.
Well, I mean, I wanted to ask it earlier, but I think I've completely gotten off topic. I wanted to talk about Charlie Sheen with the movie The Chase, and how Alexis on Fire even wrote a song about that, and that just sounded really fun and really funny. I was wondering if you had any memories of that.
Well, the best memory of that was after about a few hours of filming, me and the other cop in the car, Josh Mostel, son of Zero Mostel, the legendary comedian, he heard us on the walkie-talkie goofing around between takes, and he called us on the walkie-talkie, and he said, "You guys are funnier than my script. Just do whatever you want. Don't worry about the script." And so everything you see in that film is an improv, as far as me and Josh. So what you see is all the lines I said, I made that up. And so we didn't use a script at all. And that was the longest improv I've ever done. It was like a month of shooting. And we go in there every day, and our instruction was drive around and be funny.
I'm going to look at this movie.
Because every other film I've ever done, you stick with the script. You write down to the semicolon.
Honestly, I'm going to be watching this like in a completely different way now.
It was a fun film to make. Charlie went to the set every day and did his work. I mean, the guy never missed a line. I mean, he just was very professional. I mean, I don't know the guy. He's been very popular in the last year or so. Mainly, I guess, for quitting his TV show. But when I acted with him, he was just a guy showing up for work. I've never talked to the guy since. It's not like we're, big friends or anything. I don't know the guy at all.
Thank you so much for answering my questions. You're going to be coming down to Fort Lauderdale for a spoken word tour on the 9th, and I will be there, and I'm very excited. I can't wait.
Oh, cool. Well, then I'll see you there.
All right. Thanks, Henry.
See ya.
Take care.